everybody, and welcome back to our next in our series of Cuppa Tea with a Vet. And we've got Louise. Hi, Louise.
Hi.
Louise Turley is from Mulberry House Vets in Wokingham, and she's got a very cool history. And I've been really looking forward to having this chat for a really long time, because it's always really nice when we get to know the local vets as well, even better. So make sure you come along, get involved and ask questions as well, particularly if you're local, because it's really good to meet our locals. So Louise, introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I have been a vet for quite a while. I graduated in 2006 up from Edinburgh University. I started then working in mixed practice in Berkshire. So did, cattle and horses and alpacas, pigs, all sorts of, fun things, as well as cats and dogs. I then did a bit of traveling and then moved back to this area after a couple of years. While I was away, I worked in Australia. I also worked in Thailand, did some neutering and things, and then came back and then I chose straight to do just small animals. Which is what I still do. Worked in a few different small animal practices, and then 3 years ago, with 3 friends, set up Mulberry House Vets. We opened just over 3 years ago, and it's just been incredible. It's been such an amazing journey in this current climate of so many corporate practices and small practices being bought over by big chains of vets, to be able to set up by ourselves as an independent vet practice. And it's been so successful. It's just been amazing. I mean, it's been tricky. There's been some challenges in the last 3 years by, no means, but it's amazing.
Yeah, your timing is really quite shocking, isn't it? I mean, you were just opened and then, let's hit with a world pandemic, shall we?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's quite
all the things that went with that, as well as it being COVID. There was also practically everybody in Wokingham got a puppy.
Well, and half the planet. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Which is fantastic. It's wonderful, and in some ways it was challenging for us as a new practice, but then it also meant that there was so many patients for us, and we had quite an unusual model as a new startup vet practice, in that the directors are myself, Kate and Alex are also vets, and Sharon's our practice manager. So we all previously worked at a different practice, and that was sold to a corporate. So we decided actually that's not what we wanted to do. We reckoned we could start up our own practice and do it well. And so that meant that we did start off with 3 vets, whereas most practices will start with 1 vet and possibly, maybe 1 vet, 1 nurse. We had 3 vets, so we had to grow quite quickly, and we did. And we've had a waiting list for ages. We go through it regularly, but still, it's great.
That is amazing. I mean, it's really lovely that you had the guts to do that. It's a really big thing. That's a really big thing, and nobody should ever talk down how big that is, because you must have been terrified.
It was quite scary.
Yeah, and also having leap of faith with your friends, because what I was going to say is, actually, in all my talks of talking to vets, because obviously I talk to a lot of them, one thing I have noticed is, because obviously quite a few of them are couples, not that they like to tell anyone that, and so many of them go and set up as their coupleness. And actually, it's funny you say about the 1 vet thing, because actually a lot of the practices that I know that have set up like that are 2 vets, but 1 vet decides to nurse, which I find that bizarre, because it's a totally different skill. It doesn't happen forever, but that's what they seem to do. And you say, how did you decide who does what? And they say, we're not going to tell you. So I never find out that bit, but that's what I tend to find happens, which is quite interesting. But yeah, having 3 friends, I mean, it's amazing. You all work together, or 4 of you all work together, so you all knew each other, which is really good, and knew each other from a working point of view, which is really great. So yeah, well done, because it's very scary, very commendable.
Yeah, it was challenging, and when we first decided to do it, I just had my 2nd child, so I spent most of that sort of maternity leave type thing just with a baby in one arm, trying to tell the builder which type of door handles we wanted, or actually, oh, there's a leak over there, there's this, there's that, so yeah.
even more impressive. That's amazing. So are you from Scotland, by the way? Because I must admit, I never noticed your accent until now, and now I can't stop hearing it.
Yes, yeah, I grew up in Berkshire. Yeah,
Wow,
my
that's
parents
not too north.
So it's southwest.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh
And
wow, that's amazing.
I had 5 years at Edinburgh, which is still, having traveled a huge amount of the world, Edinburgh is still my favorite city in the world. I love it.
I do want to go there. I do want to go there for sure. And tell me a bit more about your traveling, because I must admit your intro sounded absolutely humongous. I mean, you don't look old enough to have done all that, but where, like you said, you went off to Thailand. Was that new to you?
Well, with my now husband, was boyfriend, so we did okay. We got on. So I think 3 years. I did 3 years in my mixed practice, and then we headed off. So we got a flight to Riga in Latvia. We'd really wanted to go by land all the way to, or through Asia to Asia and stuff, but it was just too tricky at that stage, because that was 2009 to get into Russia. Now you can get well, maybe not now actually, but as of a few months ago, it was easier to get in. But yeah, so we went to Latvia, and then got the train to St. Petersburg, and then got the train all the way through Mongolia to China, and then traveled around China, went through Tibet, and then Southeast Asia, and then on to and stopped off to see friends and things on the way, and stuff. We spent a long time. And eventually got to Indonesia and Bali, and we managed to hitchhike a lift to Australia on a catamaran. Pretty cool.
Wow, you're a very brave person. That's a very brave thing to do.
In hindsight, I can see why people would say that, but when I was 26 and had been traveling and living on a shoestring and getting buses and trains and all sorts of places, to then, we wrote a letter and put it on the local yacht club saying, "Is anyone going to Australia? Please, can we have a lift?"
That's the way to do it.
We found someone who gave us a lift, and we sailed. It took 28 days to go along the south coast of Indonesia, stopping off every day, every night. Spent a week just off Timor because there was a cyclone, happened to be cyclone season, and then took a few days going across to Australia. It's pretty mega.
That is mad. I mean, that. I can't believe you can think that was not scary at all at the time. I mean, I get you're appreciating now that that's scary, but wow, that's absolutely amazing. I mean, I'd be worried about not getting on with the person that you've just randomly found for 26 days. It's amazing. No wonder you're not scared of buying a practice with your friends. That's nothing. You could have been on that boat with anyone. I mean, at least you were with your partner, but that's you scary people. Right, so we've already got people coming and joining in. Thank you so much, everybody who's watching. Please do come and ask questions and get involved. This is lovely. I'm gonna pop up what Daniela Wing says. My Jackson the Jackson is registered with Mulberry House. It's such a great practice. Thank you so much for saying. That's really lovely. It's really nice to hear. And yes, Louise is going to be thrilled to hear those things. And then Amy says Shep loves Louise plus gravy bones. Well, fair enough. Who doesn't love a gravy bone? Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing. So I'm going to ask my questions now. So what do you like to do in your spare time?
I love to run. Running's my thing that I do to kind of zone out, to let stress go and relax, and also spend time with family. And I've got 2 little boys and my husband and friends, and drinking some wine and some cocktails with friends sometimes.
Hey, got to be done. That's fair enough. That's cool. Are you a long distance runner or a sprinter or just go out for Sunday?
1K type runner. Yeah.
A what K? How many?
10.
10. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Have you ever done a marathon or anything like that? Would you like to?
I've done 1 half marathon, and I would quite like to, but I just don't have time to train. at the moment. Like, I think I would like to do it, but I've got time to do 10K. Like, that fits in with my lifestyle well.
Let me tell you, this is going to blow your mind, okay? Right, for a start, so I have done a marathon, but I will share how, because nobody has time for that. It's crazy. So don't have high expectations, but I'm just saying you can do this. If I had ever done a half marathon, I would never have done a whole one, by the way. So you having done a half one, I can see why you wouldn't do a whole one. I committed for the whole hog, having never done any running before, as in I ran a bit, but I'm not unsporty. I do gymnastics. But I'm just saying this because you stand working on your feet all day. And as I was at the time, because I was a nurse back then when I did it. And so you're already halfway there and you already run, so you'll be fine. I only ran on a Sunday. This is not a professional advice here, by the way. I absolutely take away that because I have a personal trainer friend who was mortified that I did this, but I did it and I was fine. I ran only on a Sunday and I just ran 1 extra mile each week. That's terrible, isn't it? But I made it.
Yeah,
I made it. I mean, at mile 16, I was really in trouble. But after a bit of crying, it was fine. 8 more marshmallows. It was all good.
Wow.
And then, you've got to eat so much food. It's untrue. And then, I ended 19 miles before I actually did the whole hog. Never did it again. Doubt I ever will. But the point is, you can do it, especially if you love running. So I'm just giving you that bit of encouragement because you never know.
Well, at Mulberry, our big marathon runner is Kate. She has done all the big marathons. She's done London, York, Boston, Tokyo. Yeah, she's done them all. So,
but she's not going to do it like my stylie because she's doing it properly. She would, if she's watching this, she'll be like going, "No, she did not do that," and then run. That's just terrible, terrible. Oh, good for her though. That's really nice. So yeah, you've definitely got the running spirit within your practice. That's lovely. So I've got more people on here all telling us stuff, which is lovely. Sue says Mulberry House vets are like family. Bunny and I are always made so welcome. Thank you for sharing that, Sue. That's lovely. And Louise, Cherry says Louise is Honey's vet and Mulberry is absolutely the best vet. That's very lovely. And Linda says our 18-year-old cat seems to be deaf. Can anything be done?
That's my mother.
Oh, is it? Linda, you're supposed to have this conversation before you're on here, but now she's asked it publicly, so you're in trouble now. You just got to answer the question, Louise. What are you going to say?
She's not deaf. She just doesn't like being ignored.
That type of deafness. We all know that sort of deafness is a difficult one, isn't it? Not so clinical, that one. Sorry, Mum. I'm gonna put you off the screen now. Thank you for joining in, though. I do appreciate it, and I'm sure she does too. Oh, Kate says, "Shh."
That's Kate with her marathon running.
That's exactly what I thought. See, I knew that's what that was to do with. Bless her. Kate, come on, tell us more about your secrets about your running, because it's lovely to hear. And it's fine. I understand that you think I'm appalling for doing my terrible training, but I got a job done. Yeah, that's really lovely. That's a really good pastime. It's really important to keep your head in a good place. So well done. So what made you decide to be a vet?
I decided pretty early on that I wanted to be a vet. Sort of, I don't know, I remember I was 6, 7, that sort of age. And I think a lot of it is family influence. My mum's family were all farmers, so she grew up in a farming background. My dad's family all doctors. And yeah, so I used to spend my holidays with my, on the farm and with my ponies, and my cousin really was into ponies, so we used to do all that. And I remember seeing the vet, so coming to see the cows and the sheep and things, and just thinking that was what I wanted to do. Yeah. So, and then we had a cat. We had and then I got really into riding and ponies, and it just was all that I ever wanted to do, really.
It's the perfect mix, isn't it? If you've got doctors and farms, that is veterinary right there. So yeah, it does make a lot of sense. That is fair enough. So what's your favorite part of being a vet?
The people and the animals, and that relationship that you get, and the bond that you can get with your with both the patients and their owners. Like, I'm, as much as I love being a vet, I'm a real people person. And one of the things I love about being a general practice vet is getting to know my clients and their pets, like the people who have mentioned their little Bunny and Shep and Honey and all these, I know them really well, and I know their owners really well, and I love that. Yeah.
It's really important, and it's really lovely to hear. And that is going to be what all of our watchers are thinking. Thank you for just listening to us and listening to people, because, so many people, when they try and, if you ask, it is many, there is many, it's not everyone, but if you ask them, why they want to be a vet or something when they're young, in the beginning of their career, a lot of them say, oh, I don't want to work with people. And it's like, actually, this is a really big part of this job is working with people, because they're the owners of these pets, they're the family members, and the job doesn't come without the people part, and it's really important, and they need to care, so it's really, really good that you enjoy that side of it.
You do. I mean, it's great when you do an exciting surgery, a life-saving surgery, this animal could die and now it's alive, and actually, like, I did that. Like, that's the most wonderful feeling. But on the other hand, so that's a great part of it, and that's the more, sometimes that's an exciting part of it, or a bit of an adrenaline part of it, a great sense of achievement. But I also get as much sense of satisfaction from helping people to discuss their dog's long-term arthritis and what they can do about it, and all the different things that can be done, or a cat who comes into the practice and someone's really worried, and we do some bloods and we work out it's hyperthyroid, and then a few weeks later it's on meds and it's much better, and you've made a difference to those people's lives and the pets' lives, and I think that is a wonderful thing, that most days vets make a difference to people's lives, and we might see, especially on a consulting day, I might see 20 people, and sort of, when there's some that maybe are just in for a quick check, or you don't see them so often. There's others that you have a real relationship with as well. They're all equally as important, and it's just, and I've come to appreciate that in that person's day or life or week or month, going to the vet's actually quite a big deal. So for some people who, maybe lost the love a bit with being a vet and things, it's just lots, it's just sort of can be numbers. Whereas for me, it's like, I know this trip to the vets is important, maybe worrying, maybe a bit anxious for you. And actually that 15-minute appointment is a big part of your day. And it's, I like that I can make a difference, make people, reassure people. I understand when people come in and they're worried. They're sitting in that waiting room, and at Mulberry House, we make it as relaxing and calm and peaceful and as we can. But people are still worried, and it's my job and my responsibility to alleviate that worry and to help.
Totally. I also just want to take you straight back to the point. I'm thrilled, by the way, because you just must make me really have a little party in my head, because you put arthritis in your discussions of illnesses first. And I love that, because actually people think of an illness as like, oh, the diabetes, we have to find that, diagnose it, fix it. Thyroidism, diagnose it, take a blood test, fix it. Arthritis often gets left on a back burner because it's just old age, or just slowing down, or it's a just illness, and it's so hard to diagnose because you don't do bloods and various things, and you can do things, but obviously there's so many things, it's so broad that nobody ever puts it first. So thank you. That was really nice to hear. So and there are a lot of vets out there that would be thinking the same. Stuart Carmichael, I was listening to one of his lectures the other day, and he was saying that, and so he'll just be like, oh, yes, Louise, well done. So I'm just going to put that out there right there, because that was amazing. Thank you. And yeah, it's really good. And you're right. There's different types of satisfaction in your day. It doesn't have to be one type of satisfaction, does it? And if you can find multiple ways of getting satisfaction out of your day, then that's brilliant. You shouldn't have to have just one type of way of enjoying your job. It's absolutely, there's plenty of vets out there who love a good abscess squeeze. That's satisfying too, right? So that's wonderful. So I'm going to go back to the comments again, because Kate because I read this and thought, thanks, Kate. She just said, pretty sure I couldn't have managed a half marathon on a Sunday run a week. Well done, you. Yay, thank you. Don't hate me. Yeah, I'm not saying it was a good thing. I'm just saying I did it and survived. There we go. So Daniela says, another question. Why are Dachshunds so barky? Is this normal for Dachshunds?
I would say a lot of Dachshunds are very barky, but they're not the only ones.
No, they're not. Staffies, that's what's jumping in my head. The squeak.
And yeah, just some dogs are barkier than others. People think little dogs are very barky, and they can be, but big dogs can be barky too.
Oh, for sure. Wait till the postie comes. Awesome. Great question, Daniela. Thank you so much. I think that that might be a question for a behaviourist. Maybe you have a behaviourist watching and they have a good theory they want to pop in there. That was a great question. Gail. Oh, hi, Gail. Gail says, my 2 senior beagles are both at MH, and it is the best vet practice I've ever had. From the staff at reception and the nurses and the vets, everyone is great. Sorry, my reading just went terrible then. That's lovely. That's lovely. Well done. Thank you, Gail. Thank you for getting involved. And so, yeah, anybody else, make sure you ask some questions. So what pets have you got, Louise?
I have a cat who is a typical vet cat. She is called Millie. And I took her on from a previous practice that I worked at. She'd been knocked over. I think she was about 4-ish months old when she'd been knocked over, and her owners weren't able to look after her. And she had a pretty bad accident. Like, her back end was a bit of a mess, but her front end was just perfect. And she's a little silver tabby British short hair, and she's just the cutest. And so yeah, she was there for nearly a year, and then I moved into a house rather than the flat, and I took her with me, and she was with me for about 6 weeks. After about 2 weeks, I saw her, we let her outside, and I saw her jumping from one shed roof to another shed roof to another shed roof, and I thought, you know what, I must get her insured. So I did. And about a month later, she went missing, and she'd broken her back again. Oh, no. And a couple of trips down to Supervet with she had a fixator on her back, and anyway, she did really well. So I mean, she's like, I've taken x-rays of her back since, and it's just outrageous. Like, it just doesn't really fit together. But she climbs trees, she hunts mice, she zooms around the place, and she's as happy as anything. So yeah,
she's a perfect example of sometimes it just doesn't have to make sense, they just do. And it's amazing. And actually, what's really nice from that story as well is that you've been the owner on the other side of that story, because you can't think straight. You're a vet when it's your own with your own dog, cat, whatever. You can't think straight, and you have to take guidance and just be an owner at that point, don't you? And be a mum, and you know that. So for you, experiencing such a heavy insult on your cat and being on that side of it, you must have been in bits, and you know, sometimes you know too much, and it must have been so scary for you. But actually, it's a really nice story to share with everybody, just because owners don't know that you know that. They don't know that you have been in that situation.
And I also, like, it is scary things, but I also know the bit about having a cat in a crate and being like, right, keep her in this crate for 4 weeks. I mean, she was in there for about 2 days before I let her out and put her on my lap. And, you know, so I am aware that it's all very well for us vets to say, yes, they must, you know, they must stay on a really short lead. They're only allowed to do this amount of exercise. And it's true, it's what will let them heal best, but I am aware of the reality.
Yeah, and that's it. They are two different things, but it's just nice to know, like, it's your human side. Do you see what I mean? That's what I'm trying to get across here, is that it's really nice for people to know that you've been in that boat, you've seen it, and yeah, you can speak from experience. And you probably have a different tone if you're saying to somebody, you've got to be in that crate. You're probably going to be like, not like, you've got to stay in that crate. What do you think you're doing? You're going to be like, I'm really sorry, but it's needed, and I understand. And it's a totally different tone just because of your situation, and that's really nice, and it's just so caring. So yeah. Oh, but your poor cat, although it sounds like your cat doesn't care at all, which is fantastic.
I know.
Amazing. Well, they're just amazing. Animals are amazing. We know this. Amy has said something. Amy says, question, my collie female be 1 year next week and hasn't come into season yet. What age do they come into heat?
Most dogs, and especially a dog about the size of a collie, would tend to come in about 9-10 months would be usual to have their first season. Some dogs have, or female dogs have what's known as like a silent season, where it's really unobvious that they've actually had one. So maybe other males aren't interested. They don't really have much bleeding at all. Their vulva doesn't get big, because that's the sort of main signs that they're in season. But then they have one at sort of about 15 months, and you think that's far too late for them to have had their first season. So actually they probably did have like a really kind of light, season when they were about 9 months old. Some of the giant breed dogs, they may not have their first season, like your sort of Great Danes, Newfoundlands, that sort of thing. Like they certainly might be more like kind of 12, 13 months before they have one. Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's a great answer. Yeah, some dogs are so clean as well that you don't even notice
Yeah,
them
exactly.
themselves up, and they take themselves off in places. It's hard to know, isn't it? So hopefully that's helped you, Amy, and you're not too worried. So yeah, doesn't sound like
it's certainly not something to worry about anyway.
Excellent. So Louise, what part of being a vet grosses you out still?
Poo.
Really?
I hate it.
Fair enough. It is stinky. It's disgusting.
I know. I just don't. Yeah, it just makes me rage. I just don't like it.
You're not the vet that comes and helps the nurses when there's an accident.
I will help, but I won't run to help. But if there's still poo there and it needs cleaned up, I will clean it up. But
Thank you.
I hate it, and it makes me rage.
That's fair enough. You are the first vet to tell me poo, to be honest. So, I'm glad that I'm still keeping it fresh for everybody, not the poo. So, yeah, that's amazing. Well, I'm very impressed. So if time and money was no object, what would your dream achievement be? I know you own a practice now, so you've probably done it, but, it's got to be something else now, right?
I think...
A chain of Mulberry houses.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think... achievement-wise, like I've achieved a lot in my life, and actually Mulberry was, it's a dream. It's fantastic to be able to work in our own practice that we've put together, that every day we're like, yeah, we're so proud of this. Something completely different. I think if you said time was no effort, I think I would go back in time, and the thing I would love to have done, I'd love to have been a Blue Peter presenter.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. Again, I've not had that answer yet. Wow, why? Tell me more about that.
I just would have loved it. I love trying new things all the time. I'm adventurous. Yes. I love all different sports. I love making things. I don't mind speaking. I like speaking to people. I like meeting new people. I love meeting new people. And when I was at vet school, my mum once sent me a newspaper article that was, it was like an advert, and it was in the Scotsman, and I guess this would have been at least 20 years ago, and it was like they were looking for regional presenters for a national TV show that was, for young people. And my mum was like, I think this is a Blue Peter presenter, you should apply. And I was like, Mum, don't be daft, like I'm at vet school, I have to keep studying, I have to keep doing this is my dream to be a vet. But I think that would have been the best thing ever.
That is so cool. So you really liked Blue Peter then?
I did, but it was more the things that you could, the opportunities that and the challenges and things like that you would be given access to as a Blue Peter presenter.
Yeah, they did do a lot. That is fair. Cool. Yeah, but you can still do a lot yourself. But I do understand that it's nice to be presenting and telling everybody else about it and have that badge. Have you got a Blue Peter badge?
No. How can I think that I want to be a Blue Peter presenter and I don't even have a badge? I know, it's outrageous.
I do feel like you needed to have been able to say yes there. Look, you've got a kid. So they still do Blue Peter. They still do Blue Peter badges. I saw something the other day and I was actually looking at the fee to get in and I can't even remember where it was, but it actually had free for Blue Peter badge holders. I was like,
Wow.
I didn't even know they still did that. So yeah, you've got to do that. That's amazing. That is a great answer, by the way. I love that. Now I want to ask to give a shout out to your amazing people at your vet practice. Is there something amazing that you want to say, like particularly about your practice or someone in it?
Well, everybody in it. We have the most incredibly wonderful team at Mulberry House. I'm so proud of everybody. We've only been open just over 3 years, and we've got 6 vets. We've got 5 nurses. We've got our reception team are just absolutely fantastic. We have lots of receptionists. They all some work full time, some work part time, and they're not just receptionists. They're just exceptional. They are the first people that our clients see when they walk in the building.
Oh,
they
yes.
are so important, and or not just walk in the building, but the first, they're the reply to an email and they are the phone, the person on the phone, and they're just so important. And yeah, so well done to all of them, because when people walk in and they are nervous, then it's their job, and they do a brilliant job of it, making them feel relaxed and more comfortable. And our nurses, I just feel blessed to have, I think, the most incredible nursing team I've ever worked with. Every one of them, firstly, they're all absolutely fantastically, highly qualified, brilliant nurses. But they care so much about the patients. They care about Mulberry, and they just work together as just a phenomenal team. It's always like, is there something I can do to help you? They help each other. They help reception. They help the vets, and that's just brilliant. And as well to our vet team. So we have 3 assistants. We have Lara and Helen and Roberta, and they're just brilliant. Like, they're just absolutely fantastic. And when we set up Mulberry, our thing was, we are going to provide gold standard, the best care that we can. Now, that doesn't have to be the most expensive care. That's the care that is right for that patient and that owner. But it's about having vets who are able to say, right, well, these are the options. This is the things we can do. Here's what's best for your patient, for your pet, things. And I think that's the most appropriate thing to do. This is how much it costs, and working within budgets and doing all that. And because our vets are so experienced and so skillful and so knowledgeable, we can just provide a fantastic service, and that's not just sort of about, that's being appropriate to each person. And it's about tailoring each our treatment plans and to every patient, and being really open with people and saying, look, these are the options, because spending money is not what it's all about, and is not always the best way to do things anyway. It's about what's actually right for the patient. And we have amazing, we have all the kit that we need to do everything we need to do. And that was another thing, right? We want good toys as vets. We're all very experienced, and myself, Kate and Alex, we've been vets for a long time, and we got a lot of skills and ability. So we wanted good toys to be able to play and do those things, all the cameras and the scanners and and all this stuff. But it means we can do what's needed to be done. But then it's also about taking a step back and saying, is this right? Just because we can do a full blood profile, x-rays, ultrasound, put a camera inside your animal, do we need to? Is it right? What are we going to do with that? And having that open discussion with people as well. And I think that's what I value. Our vets are really great at doing, communicating, I suppose it comes down to, doesn't it? Yeah.
I'm hearing you completely. And there's 2 things I want to point here. One, back on your reception team. The other thing you didn't say that always makes me laugh. Receptionists are absolutely amazing. You said completely about the client care. The other thing they're really good at is when there's something that's gone on out the back, they're the venting team, and they listen to the nurses or the vets when they come out and go, something happened, and they go, calm down, and then they sort you out, and then you go back out the back and carry on like nothing ever happened. And it's the receptionists that achieved that. I'm so aware of that. So receptionists are amazing at so many things. But then just to go back on, I love hearing that you listen to everybody's individual needs, because it is absolutely true. It is not about, oh, this disease needs X, Y, and Z, because also there's circumstances in your household, there's finances, there's time, there's physical ability to administer something that you might be giving. You know, it's all very well and good give these tablets, but if they won't actually take it, it's a cat that peels off the wall every 5 seconds in order to try and give them a tablet. Maybe that's not the right answer. So, you know, and it's really important to listen to people's budgets and stuff, because it's so, you know, you don't know what somebody else's pocket's like, and some people are so embarrassed to say, and you know, and it's not fair to make them feel horrendous in a situation where they already feel horrendous. They're probably beating themselves up already. So it's really lovely to hear you say that. And again, I know that so many people listening will just be like, oh, hallelujah, thank you. So and that's clearly where you've got so many. I mean, you've clearly got a good fan club. There's about 1 million messages on here, and these will keep coming, by the way. So yeah, that's really wonderful news. Really wonderful news.
And again, sorry, I was just going to say, I have to, of course, say thank you, and how wonderful are my other directors are. So Kate, Alex, and Sharon. Sharon is the best practice manager in the world. She runs the ship. And she, you know, yes, Kate, Alex, and I are, you know, doing the vetting part, but we could not do it without her. She's just, and she just makes everything happen. And she's just, she was it. And Kate and Alex are absolutely brilliant vets, and just as a 4 of us, we get on so well. And I have it, and we spoke about it a bit earlier before, like we've worked together for years before, so we know how each other work. And when we were starting up Mulberry, like, it was a huge commitment. You know, we had to put our houses on the line. We had to get our spouses to sign that they would agree to put our houses up as like backup, you know, for potentially being taken away if all Mulberry all folded. And we knew it wouldn't. We had absolute faith that we could do this, but it was a really big commitment to do this, you know, together, and to take on a huge amount of debt. We had faith and trust in each other that we could, and we have.
Yeah, congratulations. Honestly, that's absolutely amazing. Oh, there you go. So Karen says, I wouldn't trust anybody else with my dogs. Mulberry House are amazing. Thank you. And Stephanie has done clap, 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 which I agree completely. Absolutely. That's amazing. So this leads me on to my question. What do you love about physio?
Physio, I love that it helps patients in so many different ways. And because there's so many parts to physio, I think some people think of physio as, you know, maybe it's like a massage. And of course that, you know, because if humans go to physio, and maybe that's one of the things they get, but there's also all the different bits that you guys do that, you know, with the different sort of laser thing, you know, bits and machines, all these sort of things that I love. The other thing I love about it is how interactive it is for the clients, and the clients can really, you know, they can be part of the physiotherapy program as well. And so I love to refer people for physio, and one of the things I'll say when I say I think that you should really consider physiotherapy for sometimes cats, usually dog, is because sometimes cats, but I know mostly dogs will tolerate it more, is that the physio will teach you what to do, and then you can learn, and then you can be doing this on a daily basis, and you can really be part of it. And most pet owners want to really help their pet, and they want to do it, but they don't have the confidence, and they don't really know what to do. And so I love that, you know, whereas other things are perhaps a monthly injection, a tablet, it's something that they're giving the tablet, but they're not really that involved in. Whereas with physio, they're getting that bond, you know, when they then learn what to do, and they do the exercises, and they're doing some of the massage type, you know, bits as well. They know they're doing it, and they're having that bond with their pet, and they can see the improvement that they are doing, you know. And so some people might not have time to do it regularly, but other people who do, they love it, and they really want to do it. And I think that's fantastic. They're not feeling like either the vet or physio or other people are doing everything for their pet. They are really involved as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. I mean, you've nailed it on the head. And that is an absolutely huge part of this of the physio, is that you give the owner the stuff to do at home, because quite frankly, that's how it works best. But equally, don't be scared, anyone who's listening and thinks, uh-oh, I'd have to do stuff all day, every day, because the program is adaptable and you make it work so that it is going to be the best of both worlds for everybody. And there's an ideal, but there's also everything in between that makes it work. So, you know, we're forever having to make these plans work. So yeah, that's right. And, you know, the owner is such a big part of it. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that that description. Well done.
I have a question for you actually about physio,
Yeah.
Donna. Do you see many rabbits?
I do. Yep.
Because one of our nurses took her rabbit recently for physio, and I have to say it was the first time I'd heard of a rabbit having physio, and she said it was incredible. And her little bunny just started like grooming himself and just was like so happy and so relaxed, and because he's got a bit of pain on his sort of lumbar spine, and he just absolutely loved it. And it was a fantastic success. And I was like, wow, I'm going to have to start, you know, I'm embarrassed or afraid to say that I've never referred a rabbit for physio before.
It's a learning curve. Don't feel embarrassed or afraid to say that, because there's loads of vets that are in that same situation and it just doesn't occur to you. And I understand, because I listen and I've heard that time and time again. I actually teach other physios. I do a course that is teaching how to do physio in all species. So, because I've done skunks, alpaca, cow, I've done all sorts of things. Rabbits I've done frequently. One of my most watched videos on YouTube is one where I had a rabbit that was paralyzed and then 4 weeks later was walking again, hopping. Wow. So yeah, I'm so proud of it. And so yeah, I've treated loads of rabbits now. So yes, and cats. That's why when you said about cats, I was like, yes, do refer cats, because I treat loads of cats. And there's a cat I fairly regularly on my Facebook page, because Tiggy is just the coolest and he just loves it, and he just purrs and head bops and just loves me. He has hip dysplasia and arthritis, and he absolutely loves it. He's been coming for years. And so yeah, no, don't hold back on the exotics. We're happy to do everything, absolutely everything. So yes, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So we got Carly is saying, nice to see Louise. She saved Skipper when he was a pup. Forever grateful to her. Oh, that's nice of you to say. Thank you so much for joining in and sharing that. There you go, Louise. See, you've got a lot of fans. So I'm going to ask another question now. If you could do a Facebook Live with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
David Attenborough. He's just, I'm sure lots of people say that. I'm sure lots of vets say that as well.
They do, but you know, you've blown our minds with the poo that nobody ever says, and the oh god, I've got to think what else it was you said that nobody else ever says. Can't remember now, but you know, you've blown our mind with everything else, so that's absolutely fine. And you're crazy.
I just would love to hear his stories firsthand, you know. And you know, I think, and I've been on some adventures, but it's just nothing compared to, you know, all the things he's seen over such a long time. And I just think it would be, I just have to sit in silence and just listen.
Totally. No, I agree. I think it being in his presence alone would be an awesome experience, and you just end up staring at him the whole time, just going, I can feel your vibes, they're coming to me. And yeah, it is incredible. And you really notice him as well. Whenever I see like an animal charity or something and David Attenborough's got anything to do with it, you just notice that name. It's like, it's almost like a picture now, isn't it? It's just, he's
or his voice. Yeah, I think you notice, like, if you just hear that voice and you think,
yeah.
Oh, and I would, if I hear his voice on something, I turn around because there's instant credibility in whatever the thing's about. If he's saying it, then to me it's credible and real.
Completely. Oh, Karen, thank you so much. You're a superstar. She's reminded me what I forgot. Blue Peter. That is what you had said. That was like, I knew there was something that had completely was off the wall. So yes, Blue Peter for sure. So mind blowing. I couldn't even retain it. So very good. So, I love this question. Tell us something that people don't know about you. Can't go Blue Peter again.
I think some of the stuff I said about my travels, I think I don't really talk, well, I don't talk about it that often. So my traveling, the boat trip, being chased by pirates on the Indonesian sea.
Pirates? Tell us
Well, they
more
weren't
about
really
pirates. You didn't say that.
They were more opportunistic fishermen.
How very PC of you. I like that. What
And they didn't
happened?
catch us. Our boat was faster than theirs, so it was fine.
So they were just there in the background and you
Chugging
knew what they were.
along, yeah, as we were getting faster and faster away. But it was a bit scary.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've heard some dodgy stuff about that. That is a bit scary. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we're going with that then. Your thing nobody knows about is your scuffle with pirates. That's very cool. That's very cool. So what's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done? Oh my God, you're gonna have so many things. I can't even remember now. Too many.
Which was pretty spontaneous. I did buy myself a sports car just after I got married.
That's midlife crisis.
Yeah, no, it was. It was, I got married and I changed my name. And then I changed my name, or I remember sitting down and doing all the like change of address or change of name type things, and changed my name on Facebook and was like, oh, my identity is just gone. Who am I? I thought, I know who I am. I'm the kind of person who would buy a sports car. So I did, and I'd had some savings from when I was working in Australia, and I bought a little black sports car. And I came home and I said to my husband, new husband, look at the car I just bought. And he was like, wow. Because possibly the one thing that I would do that he would never, ever do is buy a sports car. And I think that's why I did it. And I still have it. I've managed to get through having 2 children and still have a 2-seater car. I do also have a family grown-up car. But yeah, it's now worth basically no money and I'm just waiting for it to die. But I still have it.
To be honest, I can understand that as well, because actually, funny enough, I was just having this conversation with my husband and how annoying it is, the whole name change thing, because it is actually a real pain. And I think it's because I said something and said, oh, you wouldn't like it if you had to change your name. But then actually I said, it wouldn't be so bad because he doesn't have a business of his own. And he said, yeah, it'd still be really annoying. He totally understood. And then we were talking about mishing and mashing the names up, because I said, from my business point of view and my work point of view, I've got to be Wills because everybody knows that name. And then this new name, I said, I can be that for personal reasons. That's fine. So now it's all very confusing. So honestly, it's a mind blow. So I'm not surprised you had a moment. But, you know, to respond to it with a sports car is quite hilarious and quite extreme. I didn't do that. So, yeah, that's a very cool story. So Christy has said, my dog has Cushings, I think. And when taking Vitriol, it brings on seizures. Has she also has CECS? Spike syndrome. Does that make sense to you?
Not massively. I couldn't tell you without seeing the pet really or knowing much more about them. It's a really tricky one to say. Definitely, her vet's the person to ask. I'm afraid not really one I can answer over Facebook.
No, that's totally fine. It's totally fine. Thank you so much for asking the question, Christy. It's really good of you to ask, and it's not a problem that you've asked at all. Unfortunately, yeah, it just obviously requires a little bit more detail to be able to understand. So yeah, perhaps talk to your vet, and if you need it more explained, sometimes I say to people, speak to the nurse within the practice as well, because sometimes the nurse might be able to explain it a little bit more to you and spend a bit more time and might explain it in a slightly different way that you might be able to understand a little bit better. So that might help. If it does, just throwing it out there in case. But yeah, happy to try to help. So sorry about that. No problem. So my next question is, what's the weirdest dream you've ever had?
I can't really think of any strange dreams. Usually a bit too tired to dream.
Fair enough. You haven't done enough night shift work. That's when I tend to find my worst ones, when you sleep in the day after a night shift.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's true.
they mind-blowing then, isn't it? Mind-blowing. That's fair enough. If you don't remember your dreams, that is okay.
I can't think of any good ones to tell you about, really.
That's fair enough. I had one once where I kept driving round roundabouts, and as I was going round all the roundabouts, they kept getting steeper. So I was going up, and then they kept getting more and more moss on. Like, that's so weird, isn't it? Like, why was the moss significant? Why was this going around in circles? Like, I get that I might have been just feeling like I was going around in circles, but why were they going upright? It's so weird. Dreams are just hilarious. They make no sense to me. That's why I just thought I'd share that completely bonkers one, that literally bonkers. But it obviously stuck in my head because that was years ago and I've never forgotten it. So yeah, very, very weird. So if you could treat any animal in the world, what would it be? What's your coolest animal to treat?
I'm in awe of, and I love big cats. So I've never really explored the avenue of being a zoo vet or anything like that, particularly, and it's not something I'm going to do. But I just think to look at and to listen to and to see lions and tigers, and they're just incredible beasts, animals. They're just amazing. So that would be. It would be amazing to think that you were doing something to help them, as well. So I think they're some of the most magnificent animals. And certainly I do remember at vet school, when we did our zoo medicine rotation, I went out to Edinburgh Zoo. Some friends there in their group, they got to go and they had to sedate one of the female tigers, because they had to put a contraceptive implant into her because they'd had such a successful mating program that they needed her to stop mating.
Oh, wow.
So we had to sedate her and then do the implant. And that, I think that was the coolest thing that anyone got to do in our sort of final year of in our rotation. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that must have been pretty amazing. They are big as well. I don't think you ever have any perspective until you actually stand next to one, do you? And then you're like, they're big, and their claws just so big. So yeah, that is pretty cool. That's fair enough. That is fair enough. So what's been the most memorable part of your career so far? Buying a practice.
I would say so. I'd say it's pretty up there. Setting up Mulberry House is just, it's been intense, it's been challenging, it's been wonderful. Yeah, so that's pretty, yeah. It's just been so much, it's been so epic, and it's just been so involved that sometimes it seems crazy to be able to sum it up in a few words, but yeah, and it's still ongoing. It's not like we've done it now and that's it. Every day our aim is to make it the best it can possibly be.
That's fair enough. That's really good. And you're clearly doing a great job. There's a lot of love in there for you. So that's fair enough. I like this question I'm going to ask. I must admit, I may not have told you this one before, but someone asked it last time and I thought it was a great question. So I'm definitely asking. What would your birthday wish be?
It was actually my birthday 2 days ago.
Oh, well, you can't tell us what you actually wished for then. That's terrible. That doesn't work. Okay, tell us your next in line wish.
Okay, next in line. I'm not really good at. Do you know what? This is going to sound ridiculous. I am so lucky, and I've had a blessed life, and I'm not even old. Do you know? I don't think I'm old. I just think that I'm really lucky and have, at the moment I have everything I want. I just want my family and friends to stay healthy and for Mulberry to continue to be the best it can be. So health and happiness is my wish.
Perfect. That's perfect. You could happily have gone with world peace at this stage as well at the moment. So
well, to be fair, yeah, I would love that.
Exactly.
But I don't know that one birthday wish is going to give me that.
It's all worth a punt, isn't it? I feel like I should go make 4 cakes just to give it a go. Well, that's absolutely been amazing. It's been absolutely wonderful talking to you. It's just been a pleasure, real pleasure. And it's been really nice learning about you. And what I want to ask for everybody so that they can definitely learn, what is your top tip for dealing with pain?
I would say my top tip is there is not one way to deal with pain. So pain management should be multimodal or multifactorial. So, and whether that is an acute pain like a fractured leg, or a pancreatitis, abdominal pain, one medication or one thing is not enough. There are so many ways that we can deal with pain, and with, even if that's regards with medications, whether that's a drug like a methadone, and then plus an anti-inflammatory, plus other ways of doing it. There's always more than one way. And when it's things like chronic pain, like arthritis, it's the injectable, the sort of new injectable medications, the physio, the hydrotherapy, even acupuncture. It's not something I know a huge amount about, but I know vets who do, and who do it really well. And so that's my top tip with pain, is don't think there's only one way, and there's many ways to deal with every type of pain.
It is a brilliant tip, and I like it a lot. Multimodal pain control, lots of options. Don't ever think you're at the end of the road. Yeah. That's the thing. So well done. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you so much for getting involved, asking questions, and saying all your lovely, lovely comments for Louise and her team and Mulberry House Vets. So yeah, it's been wonderful. Everybody take care. Lovely to see you, Louise. Bye-bye, everybody.